solutions were soluble with each other. For example, we took colored water and acetone and put them in a test tube together. When we saw that they mixed, we wrote down soluble on our table. We did the same thing with water and oil, and when they didn't mix, we wrote they weren't soluble on a table. We repeated this process with every single substance, testing to see which ones were soluble with each other and which ones weren't. For our next test, we tested the solubility of potassium iodide and sugar in each of these solutions. So what we did is we took a beaker and first mixed potassium iodide into each and every one of the solutions and wrote down soluble or non-soluble based on our results. We then did the same thing with sugar. For our third test, we tested the surface tension of every single one of the solutions. To do this, we first took a piece of square wax paper and put it on the table. We then put a penny on top of this and took the bottle of solutions in a dropper and carefully dropped a drop of the solution on the penny, seeing how many we could fit on top of the surface of a penny before the tension broke. Water has the most surface tension and acetone has the least.
For the next test, we tested capillary action. So we had 5 capillary tubes, and we put 1 tube in each dropper bottle of each solution. And we would take the capillary tube back out and measure the distance the liquid traveled in the tube. So as you can see, water traveled the most with 4.52 cm, and acetone traveled the least with 1.22 cm. The next test was a test of volatility, and what we did was wrap an aluminum foil on top of a hot plate. We drew a 5 cm radius circle on the aluminum foil and put the 5 solutions along the circle separately, and then we would start the hot plate and start the timer and see how long it'll take for each solution to evaporate. So oil took the longest with 5 minutes and hexane took the least with 17 seconds. The last part was the boiling point of each solution. So you can see oil has 315 degrees, followed by water with 100 degrees, rubbing alcohol with 82.5, hexane with 68, and acetone with 56 degrees. Some errors and things we can improve on. So for the solubility A test, we couldn't exactly measure 2 ml for each of the substances when mixing. So not all the tests were similar in terms of the volume. Another thing was the surface tension test. When we were dropping substances into the penny, sometimes they would kind of drip off the penny instead of totally bursting out. So we didn't really have the exact number of drops. And lastly, for the volatility test, the aluminum foil wasn't completely straight, so sometimes the solution would kind of, when we dropped the solution on the aluminum foil, they would kind of mix. So I guess, and we had to keep doing it, so I guess some improvements was make the aluminum foil nice and straight before we put it on the hot plate.